challenges faced by humans today. It purifies the air we breathe, cleans the water we drink, and produces the variety of foods we require to stay healthy and resist disease. Human action has reduced biodiversity and modified wildlife population structures and at an unprecedented rate. The emergence of COVID-19 has underscored the fact that when we destroy biodiversity, we destroy the system that supports human life. The more biodiverse an ecosystem is, the more difficult it is for one pathogen to spread rapidly or dominate, whereas biodiversity loss provides opportunity for pathogens to pass between animals and people. Human actions, including deforestation, encroachment on wildlife habitats, intensified agriculture, and the acceleration of climate change have upset the delicate balance of nature. I'm also in charge of Marketing Federation in Madhya Pradesh. In last 1 year alone, I have seen that the inorganic fertilizer that is being used by farmers for excessive production has increased by about 15 to 20% in 1 year. We can understand the extent of use of inorganic fertilizers and the adverse impact that it is creating on the entire environment. We have changed the environment, changed the system that would naturally protect us, and have created conditions that allow particular pathogens, including coronaviruses, to spread. Today, it is estimated that globally about 1 billion cases of illness and millions of deaths occur every year from diseases caused by viruses and such similar viruses. And about 75% of all emerging infectious diseases in humans are zoonotic, meaning that they are transmitted to people by animals. Nature is sending us a very clear message. COVID-19 provides us an opportunity to both revisit our relationship with nature and rebuild a more environmentally responsible world. Addressing zoonotic disease emergence requires addressing its root cause, primarily the impact of human activities. As the global population approaches 10 billion, that is 1,000 crores, we need to better understand the web of life in which we live and appreciate that it functions as a whole system. It is time to reimagine our relationship with nature and put nature at the heart of our decision making. This is what I would say on this World Environment Day, that all public representatives, civic societies, and the people who run governments should put nature at the heart of decision making. It is time to reimagine our relationship with nature. And there's one thing that we should be able to agree upon, though, that this pandemic is making clear the direct connection between a healthy natural environment and human health. There's evidence that wildlife trafficking played a role in the emergence of COVID-19 in a wet market in Wuhan, China last year. But this is not just a problem in China, it's a global issue. Other than recent diseases such as Middle East respiratory syndrome and SARS also had connections to wildlife trafficking or the sales of wild animals. But the causes of other illnesses such as H1N1 influenza, which emerged in US and Mexican factory farms, should also be on our radar. When we put thousands of animals in a very small space, it has a lot of opportunity to spread. And each time it spreads, there are small changes in the pathogen, which may result in a virus being more easily spread and being able to connect to human tissue. If we read the very recent book and one of the most famous books written by Noah Harari of Israel, his book on Homo Deus clearly mentions that now on this earth, majorly two kinds of um, animals exist. One is human beings and their pets. Humans have made every animal organism as his pet. You take dogs, cattle, wild animals. Wild animals now hardly exist in the wild. Everything has been converted into pets by humans. And suddenly we have this coronavirus, which clearly says it's a message to the humans that you have played with the nature, now we will play with you. Climate change leads to a lot of changes in vegetation, in animal behavior, in human behavior, and these may cause diseases to spread geographically and diseases being able to infect new animal species. It's a very unpredictable effect. The solution is once the pandemic is under control, invest in the environment, restore ecosystems. This is what we all need to do. How to restore the environmental ecosystems. Eliminate the global trade in illegal wildlife, shut down dangerous factory farms. We now know how badly a disease can impact our lives, our most vulnerable people in the entire economy. It's time to transform our relationship with nature into a more positive one that is less exploitative and creates more understanding of the value to human health and the economy of a resilient natural world. We all need to take back nature to its original size and shape. Significant improvements that the pandemic situation significantly improves air quality. What Ratna ma'am was mentioning just now was during the pandemic when there was lockdown, the air quality dramatically improved. And that clearly shows how human intervention, how human interference with the nature has converted this entire earth into NOx gases, filled with NOx gases and very dangerous uh, gases. The negative consequences of COVID-19, such as increase of medical waste, haphazard use and disposal of disinfectants, masks and gloves, and the burden of untreated waste continuously endangers the environment. I am part of the COVID um, um, management team in Madhya Pradesh, and we are seeing this very dangerous post-COVID effect called black fungus. And one of the main reasons, as per research, is the reason for spread of this black fungus is abuse of steroids. Abuse of medical medicines and steroids is the single most reason for the spread of black fungus after the corona is over amongst those patients. See the ill effects of the kind of uh, abuse of medicines that we are doing, the kind of the way in which we are actually using haphazard use of medical medicines is leading to these kind of diseases. Just imagine the total number of people who are going to be affected mentally after this entire COVID is over. This is clear indication how we are playing with nature. Genomic analysis revealed that SARS-CoV-2 is phylogenetically associated with SARS viruses, and bats could be the possible primary source. So what we should do, possible strategies of environmental sustainability. It is assumed that all of these environmental consequences are short-term. So it is high time to make a proper strategy for long-term benefit as well as sustainable environmental management. Industrialization is crucial for economic growth. However, it's time to think about sustainability. For sustainable industrialization, it is essential to shift to less energy intensive industries, use of cleaner fuels and technologies, and strong, efficient policies. This is time, and this is the reason why this webinar has been arranged, that we should all think to protect our Mother Earth, and we should all become part of the policy making that government is going to take up. I'm part of the government. I will do my part. But as citizens, each one of us put whatever we are thinking on paper and submit it to governments that this is what we want to be done so that our future generations are protected. To reduce emissions, it is necessary to encourage people to use public transport, rather private vehicles. Besides, people should encourage to use bicycle in a short distance, and public bike sharing should be available for mass usage, which is not only environment friendly, but also very beneficial for health. Use of renewable energy can lower the demand of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas, which play a very important role in reducing GHG's emissions. I'm going to be very clear. I was managing oxygen for the entire state of Madhya Pradesh. From a requirement of about 60 metric tons of oxygen, we supplied 680 metric tons of oxygen so that people are saved. We had about 1,11,000 patients on a requirement of oxygen, and just imagine what we have done to the nature. I have had phone calls from people who could fly private jets requesting for, please give us some oxygen to our hospital where my family member is wanting oxygen. So any amount of wealth you actually acquire, any amount of money you acquire, any amount of power you acquire, it is not going to be making any difference to you if we are playing with nature the way we have been doing. So we need to be very, very cautious, at least from today onwards, and we should think of, think of environment in a very, very serious way. To control the challenges of water pollution, both industrial and municipal wastewater should be properly treated before discharge. Besides, reuse of treated wastewater is in non-production processes like toilet flushing and road cleaning can reduce the burden of excess water withdrawal. To reduce the burden of waste and environmental pollution, both industrial and municipal waste should be recycled and reused. Ecological restoration, tourist spots should be periodically shut down after a certain period. Moreover, ecotourism practice should be strengthened to promote sustainable livelihoods, cultural preservation, and biodiversity conservation. To reduce the carbon footprint and global carbon emissions, it is necessary to change the behavior in our daily life and optimum consumption or resources like avoid processed and take locally grown food, make compost from food waste, switch off or unplug electronic devices when not used, and use a bicycle instead of cars. To meet the sustainable environmental goals and protection of global environmental resources, such as global climate and biological diversity, combined international effort is very, very essential. So I would like to conclude with few suggestions that directly or indirectly, the pandemic is affecting human life and the global economy, which is ultimately affecting the environment and climate. It reminds us how we have neglected the environmental components and enforced human-induced climate change. Moreover, the global response to COVID-19 also teaches us to work together to combat against the threat to mankind. Though the impacts of COVID-19 on environment are short-term, united and proposed time-oriented effort can strengthen environmental sustainability and save the earth from the effects of global climate change. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Narahari Garu. Wonderful message. I think you rightly said we need to take this forward by having the citizens taking the responsibility and partnering with the governments to ensure that these policies are implemented properly. Being a spectator, expecting the system to change will not work. We need to have our skin in the game to make sure that we can change. And we should be the change to start with, as you rightly said. I would like to request the leadership of this World Environmental Organization to create a steering committee with eminent people like you who are committed and who are sincere about taking the message to the governments. We are very fortunate to have you on this forum to take this forward so that we can make a difference. Even one of us, two of us, three of us, slowly, if we transform ourselves to be having this social responsibility to keep our environment safe and clean, it can truly, truly transform the world. I think let's get started one at a time with under your leadership, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Next, I invite Bhima Nishant, film director.